Hello everyone, this is Michael Cunningham from RPGamer. We're here at the NIS America Studios in Santa Ana, California. And we've been seeing a couple of games from theirs today, and we're here with Ryan Phillips, Alan Costa, Nick Doerr, and Stephen Carlton. We're going to start off talking about Mugen Souls. Who wants to give us kind of just a brief pitch of Mugen Souls?
I'll talk about that. We have Mugen Souls coming out this September 18th in North America and the 28th in Europe for all of you. Mugen Souls is about a girl named Shushu who wakes up one day in the middle of space and sees planets in the distance, and she decides she wants to conquer them all. So she goes on this big adventure to do that. And along the way, players will be able to experience a pretty over-the-top crazy system like Disgaea with tons of leveling up and cool items that you can break the level cap for and things like that, and it's just a really overwhelming, over-the-top experience that we think you'll really enjoy.
Excellent. One thing that we've noticed and that's been talked about on the forums and stuff is that there's been a little bit of content, you know, there's bath scenes and stuff like that that have been cut out. What kind of issues have y'all had to deal with as far as the removal of certain maybe inappropriate content?
Well, obviously, the big word censorship on the internet is being thrown around. Obviously that's the last thing we want to do with any of our games, is to have to omit content. But I mean, just officially the mini game that was included in the Japanese version is just going to be skipped when you play the game. So outside of that and a few just kind of stills at the very end of the game, everything else in the game has been completely unchanged. So basically content, story, basically, you know, everything besides the minigame and the stills are all in the game. Kind of the hardest part is I know that there's a lot of people that want to play that raw game that hasn't been unchanged, and you know, we know that it's kind of a tough situation for all of us. So we just ask to, you know, please enjoy the game, and that, you know, if you once you finish the game, you can kind of maybe take a look at the imported version. I mean, I know that's not kind of the best answer for it, but I mean, you know, being honest, we just unfortunately just couldn't release that content here in the U.S. So, yeah.
It's good to enjoy it for what it is and not what it isn't.
Yes.
Indeed. So along with that, I know that's one part of the localization that you've had to deal with. Have there been other localization issues that you all have had to deal with this title, or some things that may have been a little more difficult or a little, you know, bit of a struggle for this title?
At least on the editing side, nothing really stood out. I know that in the Japanese translation, there's a lot of like puns and sort of Japanese style humor, and that can always present its own set of unique challenges in terms of getting it translated right and then getting it edited properly so that it still remains a joke and not losing the spirit of the Japanese.
Right. I know, Alan, you gave one example earlier of some issues that you had with one character and kind of a diary entry, I believe you said. What was some of that?
Well, the original joke in Japanese was that the character who keeps a journal used a lot of Chinese characters to write her journal. And then looking back on it, she says, well, I don't know if I want to put all those Chinese characters in there. It kind of makes it unwieldy and weird. And then later on, when she formats that, she starts using a lot of katakana, which is usually used to write non-Japanese words. And she's like, well, I don't like this either. So all I could really do with that was just kind of explain what the joke was supposed to be, and then pass that over to Nick, who I think did a really good job of taking care of that.
Excellent. So I guess all of our readers can, you know, take a look at this one when it comes out. But we did want to ask really quickly, you know, release date, special limited edition information, sure. Anything that you want to share with us on Mugen Souls?
Sure, yeah, it'll be at retailers September 18th across the United States, and then that'll be retail form. In the first run at GameStop, we'll actually have like a softcover art book attached to the actual retail. So if anybody's looking to pick it up at like a standard retailer, the first run will have that extra kind of incentive. So second runs of the game reprints won't have it. And then for NIS America Online Store, we have a limited edition, basically custom box with the Japanese kind of custom art, and then also hardcover art book, and then also a sponge, a shoe, like one of the mascot characters in the game, sponge, and then a hand towel, and then also along with that, for a figure set, we have two petite androids going along with that, all for $99. And then the limited edition itself, without the figures, is $64.99. So basically, it's going to be completely limited edition at NIS online store, and you know, for anybody that's in U.S. or you know, domestic, basically it's free shipping. So take a look, check it out, nisamerica.com.
Excellent. And the second title we looked at today was Legasista for PSN, and Steve here was able to talk with us a little bit about that. Could you give us a brief pitch of Legasista?
Legasista is kind of like a action roguelike adventure game. You're dungeon crawling and collecting items, equipment to power itself up. So a lot of it is dealing with the dungeons and trying to kill things. There's also, because that's different than every other game. And it's kind of like a spiritual successor to the Cladon series, if any of you are familiar with that. It retains the Rangen, which is the random dungeons system, where you can pretty much delve into these deep dungeons, unlock all these items that are better quality than what you get in the normal story dungeons. And it's also a better place to level up your characters quicker.
I know that's one thing that we really dealt with in the time that we played. We actually did a create a character, and we were able to go in there and actually create one of our own staff members, and you know, we did the best we could on that one. What are some other fun customization options that this game has?
Besides the editor, there's also, you can customize your equipment by pretty much sacrificing other equipment that you don't think is quite up to snuff, but if it has certain properties that you like, you can discard it and take the qualities that it has and overwrite them onto other pieces of equipment. So pretty much you can build up what you like on your current equipment and improve it by sacrificing these other pieces.
Excellent. And I know one other thing that you had shown us too is that you're able to download to a PC and do actual editing of your own, kind of like you were able to do with Carlton, and
yes,
able to get those uploaded and touch those up and re-upload these characters as well, right?
Right. In the edit mode, you can draw them out in the game itself, or you can export that picture through the PS3, load it onto a PC, use a graphic editor of your choice, and then through there you can customize it as much as you want. Once you're done, you can import it back into the PS3 into the game. So you can customize your total character from their looks and all of their weapons.
And Legasista itself, what does that title mean? What is the meaning behind Legasista?
It's made from the words legacy and sister. It's tied into the main story because the main character Alto is trying to save his sister who's been turned into a crystal. And so there's a very strong familial context in the game.
Okay. We were afraid it was about some soul group or something, so we weren't really sure what was going on that one. So this one will be out on August 21st, right? Anything else you want to share about the release of Legasista?
Yeah, it's PSN only, PS3, and $29.99. So again, definitely check it out, and yeah, let us know how you like it.
And jumping back real quick to Mugen Souls, I didn't know if there was anything else you all wanted to share as far as the customization or any interesting options about the game itself. We didn't touch on that it will also be PS3 as well, so
right,
but it's retail release as,
right,
as you were mentioning. But any other interesting options that you wanted to talk about the game content itself?
Sure. I mean, you can create your own characters in Mugen Souls, similar to Legasista. You can, you know, customize their hair, face, whatever, and Japanese voices, of course.
And costumes. We saw some very interesting costumes in the time
Oh,
we were here.
the costumes.
or lack of.
Yeah. Watching people fight in their underwear was kind of interesting.
Oh, of course, it's very freeing.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing about the costumes in Mugen Souls is that they're completely genderless. So if you want to have a man in a wedding dress, go for it.
Armor rating might not be that great, but I'm sure there's some benefits to it.
Of
course.
The name of Dennis Rodman.
There you go.
Nice throwback. Very good. So these were the two games we were able to demo today. I know that the future of NIS America, there's lots of games that we've all been asking about, we've all been curious about too. One of the more recent releases we've had has been Witch and the 100 Knights. Is there anything you can share with us on the current status of that game?
Yeah, it's 100% going to be coming out. Right now we have it as, I believe, summer of 2013. And so everything's moving forward. Hopefully we're going to have more information as soon as it's announced, possibly at TGS. So once things are announced and footage and things, I know everybody's waiting for videos and more screenshots. So as soon as it's officially announced over there, then we'll instantly get it, and then I'll send it out to everyone. So I know everybody's really excited for that. Again, we're really excited because it's kind of a new direction for us for full-fledged action RPG. So yeah, we're really excited, and hopefully news on that real soon.
Excellent. One other title that was announced way before the rest of these was Black Rock Shooter, the game for PSN or PSP. You know, it seems like we had radio silence on that until just a week or so ago when the Image Epoch president mentioned, hey, we're still working on it, it's still in the pipeline. Anything you can share yet on that?
We agree. It's 100% still in the pipeline. So I know that there's been a long kind of lack of information, or just we've kind of to be kind of quiet about it, or we know that everybody's kind of waited bated breath for this game. So we are pretty excited that the president of Image Epoch last week announced that, and then we're starting to see things pick up here. So I mean, I don't have a specific date just yet, but I'm 100% sure that we're going to be popping this game out for you.
Excellent. And one other thing, that you all put a poll out on that game itself to ask it, if we were to put this out on PSN but still have a limited edition with some extra bonuses, what kind of feedback did you receive on that?
Well, for the poll, I believe it was on Silicon Arrow, we had over 2,000, or more than that, right? Was it more than about 2,000?
Somewhere around
2,000 plus kind of likes for releasing the game Black Rock Shooter along with the Figma box. So I mean, we know that the want is there. So I mean, it's just a matter of being able to make sure everything works. When we're getting things from over from Japan, because it's kind of multiple parties involved with that one. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But for right now, just the general word is that 100% moving forward with Black Rock Shooter.
And that's one thing that we've kind of been interested in, the NIS America store that you all have opened up just recently. How has that worked out for you all? I mean, has there been any benefits to being able to work around retailers? Not so much that we're trying to get rid of them in this case, but have there been any benefits you all have seen, or fans been very positive about it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Basically, our online store, we always had an online store a few years back where it was more kind of like NIS America goods. We would put some of our games on there. But the recent trend is, basically we sell all of our retail games and all of our retail anime on there too. So as of earlier this year, we started doing limited edition sets. So every single limited edition set we've put out so far has been basically completely sold out before the pre-order ends. So everybody seems to like them, and they're 100% limited edition. So basically, not any other retailer will be able to have it. So. Yeah, we're really excited about those, so hopefully that's the trend that's going to happen. Continuing on, just being able to put more awesome things in the boxes, get kind of creative, kind of like the T-shirt for the Meru. The Ellie box had a T-shirt that said Barrel on it, which is like the joke that goes in with the Tele series. So yeah, I mean, they're really fun to make here. We love making them, thinking of the items to put in there. Like for Moving Souls, it has the sponge and the hand towel plus everything else. So yeah, the online store, it offers free shipping, so for continental US. So I mean, yeah, definitely check it out. We pop new items on there, and then there's also going to be some really cool ones coming up, hopefully by the end of the year. So I can just give leading comments at this point, but yeah, there's some cool stuff planned for later on in the year. So yeah, if you're an NIS fan, just in general, NIS items, keep your eyes peeled on our store.
And that kind of gets us to, one of the final questions is about the future of NIS America. I know there's probably lots going on with your parent company, Nipanichi, and probably lots of stuff you can't talk about just yet. But I know it was mentioned kind of briefly in a panel that Atelier Aisha might be in the works. It's nothing that's officially confirmed, but
right.
Looking forward to possibly doing something with that.
Yeah, basically, for Atelier Aisha, we're still working along with Tecmo Koei because they purchased the Gust over in Japan. So I would say at the least we would be localizing the game, so fans can definitely still look forward to the solid localization. You know, that we've been doing the games for X years, so yeah, that's the word on that. So I mean, for publishing, we're still kind of working it out, but I'd say we're going to be localizing it.
Okay. And just finally on that front, I know there's been other works with Image Epoch, and I wasn't sure if there's any other games from them that you all have heard from, or any other future NIS or Nipponichi titles, such as the 20 or 25th anniversary titles that they've been working on.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, on Nipponichi side, there's a lot of games being planned for next year or for later on in the year in Japan through them. So from what it looks like, it's going to be a kind of a good year for people that like Nipponichi only games next year. So we've got some really cool plans. It's going to be a little bit more of a busier year compared to this year for titles. So it won't just not only Nipponichi games but other games too. So I know it's a lot of ambiguous talk, but you know, until things are official, we can't announce it. So yeah.
I guess just finishing up on a lighter note, I just wanted to talk, since we have a lot of the localization staff here, and it may be very rare that they actually get to share some fun, enjoyable moments of things that y'all have done with localization. Has there been, in the time that y'all have been here, maybe you can start off just quickly, share some of the projects you've worked on. Have there been anything that you've worked on that's been really entertaining, or just a brief story of something that you've not really been able to share until now? Don't want to put you on the spot, Steve, but I'll let you go first.
Well,
There's no better person.
My personal favorite localization moment was putting Napoleon Bonaparte into Disgaea 2.
So you worked on the Disgaea series. You've done 2, 3, and 4, and the ports, the portable ports for those.
The new chapters in the portables.
And you also worked on, a lot of other titles for NIS as well, right?
Right. I've done Prinny 2. I've done most of the Gust games I was on, except for the last 2 Atelier games. Besides those ones, I pretty much did all the Gust games.
Okay. So a lot of the references and stuff that you've been able to put into the Sky games have been great. So.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, like I came up with the Zam for Yukimaru to say. That was a reference to a really bad ninja movie where an American ninja fights the KKK.
How was that bad?
Well, you have to see the movie, and then you'll understand. Like
good content.
His only offensive move is to roll. Pretty much.
Hey,
So.
it works. It works. So a lot of the references you've been able to put in have been great. So it's been interesting, and that's been some of the funnest stuff that you've been able to do for these.
Yeah, it's really awesome every time we get the item list, because it's just look at what they have, try to find something either based off the name or what they have on the Japanese version, and it's just take random stuff from anywhere, plug it in. Hopefully people recognize them.
It's always been fun. That's one thing that the Sky games have been great about, is the humor. What about you, Nick? Has there been anything that you'd like to share as far as what you've worked on and some of your, the most fun you've had with doing localization?
Sure. Since I started, I've mostly been working on Idea Factory and Compile Heart titles. So I started with Trinity Universe, and I've gone through the Neptunia games and Mugen Souls, and every time voice recording is just the best experience ever. Like it's just great when you write dialogue, or not write, you edit dialogue that is just silly, and in your head you have like a certain way that it's supposed to be spoken, and then the actors and director get all into it, and then they start making jokes like beyond. Like in Neptunia 1, I was telling you guys earlier, White Heart called Green Heart Thunder Tits at one point in the opening, and that was fantastic. And then at the end of the voice recording session, the director just put the little button on to talk to the actress and was like, all right, get out of there, Thunder Tits. And so it's just, I don't know, moments like that make it all worthwhile. It's just great fun.
Definitely enjoyable. I know you've kind of been newer here. What kind of things have you done, or that you had to work with, that have been more enjoyable for you?
Well, my first title has been Mugen Souls, and I was the translator on that. And just in general, the office environment's really cool. It's really fun. In terms of the project itself, I guess probably reiterating what Nick said, voice recording's pretty cool. I mean, I grew up playing a lot of PS1 era RPGs, so I can remember the cringe-worthy voice acting that was done a lot of times in days past. But and I was also always the kind of guy who would, if there was an option for Japanese to be in there, I would always turn on to Japanese immediately without even listening to the English voice acting. But sitting behind the glass wall in the studio, I could really see that things have come a long way, and it's a blast. And the voice actors nowadays, they love what they're doing, and they're having a blast, and that enthusiasm for it really shines through. And once Mugen Souls does come out, when I give it a playthrough, I think I'm actually going to leave the English voices on for once, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that too.
I know you've been more on the PR marketing side. Have there been any moments that you've had to deal with in the PR marketing that's kind of been entertaining as far as games are concerned for NIS America?
Sometimes at game panels, because I do like an anime expo or anime conventions just around the US, we've been going around to a bunch this past summer. We get a lot of questions asked from fans just about things like Arts and Elico, to issues that would happen in the game when you get to a certain boss. So it's more just like being up in front of like 300 to 500 people and being asked a really like difficult question that you don't know what to do. And I just kind of try and view myself like aside and just like be like, oh man, you're not gonna make it out of this one alive. So we know that, like, yeah. Some of those are, and then, I mean, just, I'd say, like, the funniest moments are usually here in the office before, like, when we actually get to see the game before we actually start localizing it, because we kind of review what are the major points of the game, and what are the kind of the points of the game that we're going to have to kind of be, you know, reticent of, you know, which we're going to kind of be like, okay, well, this is not where we're going to be focusing on. And that's usually the most fun for the guys in the office. We sit there and it's usually like a good half an hour worth of laughing. So it just, as of recently, we got some new stuff. So yeah, it's always kind of like the office camaraderie also is really awesome. So I think that's where a lot of like the passion for our games come through. And then PR side, I do the newsletter, so I do all like the kind of comics that aren't funny, and then like all the other stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely a cool environment. So.
Okay. Excellent. Just want to thank everybody for your time today. And this is Michael Cunningham from RPGamer. This is Run to the Sun 2012, and appreciate everybody at NIS America. Thank you.